Hello, this is Ruby from Painting with Ruby. Thanks for joining me. Today I will be painting the rest of this piece here. It's going to be a forest scenery with the waterfall in the front. Super easy. Even beginners can do it. I'll be painting it exclusively with oil paint. And yeah, thanks for joining me. And this is going to be a 1-inch brush. And we're just going to go side to side. Right now I'm just really filling in the color. Now I'm going to go with the same brush into a little bit of the darker blue and just go in from the sides. And now just blend it. So here's a closer view of what we got so far. I'm just going to fill in a little bit more blue. And now I'm going to use a fan brush and I'm going to go into a dark color. I'm using brown, I'm using blue, I'm using a little bit of red, and I'm just mixing it all together. And I'm going to make some trees here. So what you're going to do is make a line, tap down, and then move your fan brush to the side. Use the tip of your fan brush, and as you go down, apply more pressure. You're going to need to reapply paint on your brush every few trees here. Just apply more pressure. Some a little taller, some are shorter. We're knocking these out. I want that one to be a little tall. Oh, almost done. Painting teaches you patience, that's for sure. This is really going to give you some depth though, so. Alright, so we got our trees. I think we need one more. There we go. So I got some green on my fan brush and I'm going to go back over these evergreens just to give them a little shade of green. I also applied a little bit of paint thinner. Oops. And we tighten this up before that happens again. And here we go. So first do the line, then use the tip of the brush and apply more pressure as you go down. Sometimes I just like knocking out those lines first. Apply more paint because I ran out, and then go back and do the remainder. the black gives it that shadow that you need, or the green to really pop out. Such an easy but effective way. I feel like that side was a little bit too tall and nothing was tall over here. So next I'm going to pull out my 2-inch brush, my 1-inch brush that I just used. I'm going to clean it off real quick, and then I'm going to apply some of that darker color that I used in the back of this green. Just a mixture of brown, red, blue. And I'm just going to tap in a line right underneath these trees. This side's a little bit darker, so I'm going to apply more paint. There we go. So then I'm going to clean off this brush, and I'm going to apply some of that green. Right here I'm going to make some bushes, and then we're going to make some reflections into the water. So some orange got in there too, and actually came out really nice. I didn't mean to do that. Kind of giving some fall vibes. Happy accident. I guess some white got in there, so taking advantage of that. Just tap in. And I want some of this color to be in the water, so I'm just going to tap in a little bit. Wipe off my brush. Skip most of the paint off, and then we're going to pull it down. Tap off. And now, after I wiped off the brush one more time, the part I just pulled down, I'm going to swipe right across, back and forth. And that's going to give you that nice reflection. All right, so now I'm going to create a water line with this liner brush here, but you could really use any small brush. Right, I'm going to separate this blurry part that we pulled down with the bushes. And it doesn't need to be straight because the water usually doesn't create straight shores. And I'll just blend it in a little bit. Perfect. So now we're going to start working on the water here. We got the fan brush, we have it filled with some titanium white. I'm just going to go back and forth and kind of just create these water lines. Try to make them all straight. And do as many or as few. Your water could be calmer than this. But I feel like when you do it over the blurry part, it really gives that water some dimension. And then we're going to wipe this off once again. There's a lot of brush cleaning included in this tutorial. We're going to go back into that dark black, red, green, orange, a little bit of everything. And now this is when the fun starts. We're going to do our waterfall. And I'm going to have mine right here in the middle. Just going to pull it down. Wipe off your brush once again. That's why it's nice to have multiple fan brushes, makes it a little bit easier. Here goes this. Make sure that your paint is thinned out a little bit so that it gently glides over this paint. And this is when you kind of need to pay attention to the angles. Since this is going to be a waterfall, we're going to say the water is coming from this way. Each time you swipe down, you're going to need to clean your brush to make sure that this brown paint comes off. Go back into the titanium white. And just work from the same angle. It didn't blend quite like I wanted, so I'm going to go back in with some more paint. Kind of close that gap that was there. I'm going to do that again. Do this to your liking. Add some more to the end. Oops. The part here looks a little bit too vertical. So I got some more titanium white. I'm going to give it more of a curve like the rest of it. Kind of just blending it in. This is a little dark for me, so kind of just brighten that up. And I'm happy with that. So now we're going to have to work on the bottom, the splashes. So we're going to, once again, use this one. Go back into that dark paint that you had created. Just tap in some shadows. clean off your brush again, go back into the titanium white, and this is when you kind of get the splashes. I use the corner of the brush. I want this to look like it's coming from this way. It'll make more sense once we start laying the land. It won't look like a random waterfall. Now we're gonna fill all of this with a dark color, the same color preferably that you used for the back of the base behind these evergreens. So let's get into them. So now I'm going to start filling in the rest of the area around the waterfall, and I'm just going to use my 1-inch brush with that dark color cut mixture that I made earlier, and I'm just going to tap in. I might need to add some more black color. This side I think I want to be more bushes, but this side I want to be more rock, and we're going to do the rock with a palette knife. We're going to now fill in this area with kind of like a rocky landscape, and for that we're going to use a palette knife. Before we break out the palette knife, we're going to just use that same dark color that we created to use to make the shadows of the trees and everywhere else, to just fill it in right here. This is just going to really just be the background color of what's going to go on top. Just really any dark color. I like combining the colors to make the dark color. Alright, doesn't need to be perfect, but that looks good to me. So now we can break out our palette knife. For this one, I used a yellow ochre and I mixed it with that dark color, and you just want to flatten it out. My palette knife, I'm not sure if you could hopefully see that, but there's like a line of paint at the end, and I made that by just flattening it out on my palette and swiping it off. In this, we're just gonna literally go here. We want to leave a little bit of black space on top because that's going to be the flat spot, but we want to pull down, and we barely want the paint to touch the surface. Just glide it down, only the paint touching, not the knife touching the canvas. Most of my paint fell off there, so I'm going to reload. And when you're mixing the black color and the yellow ochre, make sure not to over mix. You don't want it to be completely blended. You want, when you swipe down, you see how you see some darker yellow and some darker brown colors, just because I didn't mix it all the way. And that's creating a very rocky consistency. Sometimes I also like to use the corner of the palette knife to get into the smaller corners, like over here. Same thing, barely touch the canvas with the paint and not the knife. And now we have that part. I'm just gonna make a little bit more right here. I want to start working on this, the upper part of this rock. And for that, I'm just going to use a majority of yellow ochre. and a little bit of white mixed into this same dark yellow ochre color that I created. All right, so I have some of the color loaded on my brush. And for this, instead of pulling down, you want to pull sideways. So we have a little bit of paint, and we could just start from the top and then pull sideways. I need a little bit more paint, and I'm going to utilize the smaller part of my brush just because this area that I'm trying to cover here is not very wide. So I could use this side. And same thing, I want to cover that darkness with some of this lighter color, but I want to use it to swipe it horizontally. And that's giving us this rock structure, and it's making this look flat. So now we can get back with our little liner brush, add some titanium white, and just add a water line here. Maybe put some splashes, and I'm just literally tapping. We'll get more into the splashes once we get to that part, but just so we can see the lay of the land now. All right. Starting to come together. Now I'm gonna use my 1-inch brush to start adding some bushes here and some bushes here. And yeah, we're about to be done soon. All right, so let's start on the bushes. I have my 1-inch brush here. I loaded it with some sap green paint. And now I'm just going to tap in some bushes, starting in the ones no more near the waterfall. And you want to really do one bush at a time. Since I'm working with the small area, I am going to use the smaller edge of the brush and start from the top of the bush. Tap, 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 tap. That's the outer edge. Tap slightly less pressure as you go in. We have a nice little bush right there. And since I only use the corner edge, I can just rotate my brush to add another bush here. And you always want to start with the top of the bush and work your way down. Always leave some space in between bushes. You see that black area that I left? That's giving us a shadow, making it look like there's two different bushes there. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow ochre to the sap green just to give this bush a different flavor here. And let's do it. Tap, tap. Maybe there's a couple bushes here, so I'll do another one, but just a darker green. And I'm just using the same brush, really just adding different colors, making the painting a little bit more interesting. And this just needs to be blended, so I'm actually gonna just use my finger to blend this. And now I'm ready for this one. And there we go, we got some nice bushes back there. Now I'm gonna get back out my liner brush, load it with some titanium white real quick. And yes, you guessed it, we are adding some more water lines over here. You see now I left a little bit of the green at the bottom because I want that reflection. I'm going to use that. Work smarter, you know, not harder. Right now I'm just wiping off my 1-inch brush because I want to use it to drag down that shadow from the bushes to create a nice little reflection. And it's okay that I still have a little green because that's what color we need anyways. And then just remember, pull down, then across, because that creates the water perfection. Then same brush we were just using, that liner brush. It's perfect just to make a couple lines over this reflection. Give it some dimension. Now you can really tell what's going on here. There's splashes. Right by the waterfall, we need splashes. I'm just loading up my brush. I want there to be some thick splashes over here. Maybe this water here is a little rough, so I'm adding a little bit more lines, water lines everywhere. All right, we'll finish that up a little bit later, but let's finish our bushes on this side. So with the same 1-inch brush, load in some green. I like to add green and some yellow ochre, different variations. A tad bit of paint thinner would be nice just to make it glide onto that canvas a lot easier. And here we are. Let's do one bush at a time, and I'm going to start at the top. Just tap it in. See a little bush right here. Maybe it goes all the way down there. That's where it stops for me. I want the next one to have a little bit more of a, put it right here. I want this one to go across. Came out pretty good. And I do like wrapping my paintings across the whole canvas, so if you see me periodically tapping out a view, remember, as you tap lower, apply less pressure. That way it gives it a fading effect. And here I really didn't do it very well, so I'm just going to use my finger, create my own fading effect, which is also very possible with the brush, but I'm using limited brushes right now. Mostly because I have to clean my brushes, but here we are. And I see a little bit more. I want to make it a little bit taller. There we are. I'm happy with that. Now I want to use a little bit of orange just to give my, so I see a nice orange bush right here. Alright, so I got that. I want some more of the orange over there. Alright, and I'm kind of just leaving that little gap because I want to add a trail right here. Why not do a little trail into the waterfall, you know? Alright. So, I have some. I'm using the edge of this right now because I just want a little trail. And we're just gonna literally go back and forth with the palette knife. Try to get a lot of paint on there. Such a small surface area, and we're just going to use the corner of the brush and just tap in. And then I can go back into that green slash yellow ochre. I'm just gonna make some little highlights on top of this. Perfect. So here is the waterfall scenery. Hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any suggestions in the comments would be appreciated. Have a great day, guys.